You want to be an architect?
Maybe a truck driver?
Maybe a realtor?
Something in the medical field?
Huh. Listen to Career Paths Unedited on that.
Thursdays. Say a couple words real quick.
Eat me. I mean, Etten.
That was
Sean
a
Etten.
couple, wasn't it? I
my
said
name-
a couple that eat me's 2
Eat me,
words.
yeah.
Way to be precise. Action.
You okay there?
No.
Welcome to Career Paths by InfoNet. I'm your host, Victor Boudreau. Behind the camera, behind the scenes, Mr. Ryan King. Say hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. Today our guest is Sean
Etten.
Etten. I just know there's a lot of names I've called you, and usually it's not either Sean or Etten.
And none of them have been anything other than bad ones.
I usually are swearing.
Yes.
Whenever I tell stories about you and me, I always reference you coming out and seeing where I was entertaining at the time, 2 nights in a row.
Weekend, every week.
Yeah, back in the day. And the first night you come out, and I'd be drilling you because I was on the microphone. You were not, thank God, because you also have worked on the microphone in the past. And I would basically be picking on you, a little bit nicer way to do it. And then the second night, I tell these people, you came up to me, and I wasn't picking on you, something else was going on where I was entertaining. And you'd come up, are you mad at me? I go, why, Sean? What's wrong? He goes, well, you're not picking on me. It's like, Jesus Christ, get over your insecure little self. God.
It's not about that. It's that, I need to be recognized.
Oh, I know.
I got as big of an ego as you, sir.
I know, your insecurity. Hi, Sean, how are you?
Good,
It's been a while.
Yes, it is.
The last time we had contact was on Facebook or through or text messaging because we've had issues. I've had issues trying to get to you, and then I need to come out and kick your ass. Here, let's back up. When I stopped by your house some years ago, and I was flipping you crap, and you had some buddies there, and I walked in like I always did, calling you names, piece of crap, blah blah blah, and your friends were ready. They were looking at me like, "Oh, Sean, I'm taking this." They were going to kick my ass.
Yeah.
And then you had to reference, it's just Vic.
Well, right, and as soon as I got to throw it back at, they get a little bit more comfortable too. But
Then they
it's
realize
just the way we've always.
I know.
If we're not talking crap to each other,
Yeah, there's something wrong.
Then right.
There's
If
something
we're
wrong.
nice to each other, we're nice to each other, but
Yeah,
yeah.
verbally we're not nice to each other. Verbally, if we're nice to each other, someone's dying or someone needs money or something's really bad.
Yeah, something's really bad.
So wife's doing well. Kids are doing well. Grandkids
Yes.
doing well.
Yep. Wife is doing great. Got the grandbabies from her side are pretty much call them Texas tornadoes because they're all over the place. Things are great with that. My twins are starting to come around. Starting to see more and more of my
Awesome.
kids and stuff.
Wow.
And she's going to be getting married very well. One of my twins, my
Right.
oldest girls. One of the twins is going to be getting married here, and would like me to walk her down the aisle. We're going to go down that in New Orleans. So
Wow. Well, congratulations.
things are good. Things are
Kind of
good.
nice to have things come about
Yep, yep,
because you've had issues in the past.
yep. That was a very, very
Crazy guy.
crazy guy and not such a good dad, not such a good person back in the day. Good to friends, bad to family.
Did you? I don't know this. I'm going to ask you real quick. Your parents, were you close with your parents?
Always. I was very. The whole thing that happened with that was I had a very, very good childhood.
Okay.
And my dad was a contractor
Okay.
and was in construction, and he finally owned his own business and stuff, and he was he did blueprints and all that type of stuff, and built all the big houses from the bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more into it than what I get into.
Right.
But what happened was when we were down there, we were kids. We had a very good life. We played bowling leagues. We had golf memberships. We had the memberships to the swimming pool
Right.
down by the school. We were in baseball league. I mean, we grew up very, very good childhood. And then all of a sudden, my grandparents from my dad's side were originally from here.
Mm-hmm.
And he retired and moved back up here which is what brought my dad back up here. And so that whole change to me was just, it was really hard to deal with.
Threw you off.
So I, being 13 years old, decided, things aren't going the way I want it. I'm gonna start rebelling, and
But that's a lot typical. That happens a lot when boys turn teenagers. Anyway,
absolutely.
maybe not to the degree that you went, but
Well, right. Well, because it was like all of a sudden up here, because I had down there, I felt like I could have all this stuff. I could still keep doing the good golf and the baseball and stuff like that, And then once I came up here, saw my brother didn't make the baseball team, and he was a really good baseball player too. And I was just kind of like, all right, well now I'm just kind of in a spot where either you got to know people
mm-hmm.
to get yourself somewhere, or you don't get anywhere, and that's kind of what I saw when I first got up here as
Sure.
a kid.
Sure.
So that just kind of made me like, and then
pushed you more
Yeah.
rebellious.
yeah, and then I got kind of into the punk music, so that didn't really help either.
So, give me a little bit. What's your official title? What are you? I know this because I worked with you for a very short time because I'm a wimp. But what do you do? What's your official title right now?
Well, I actually am a business owner now.
Are you?
I do own my own business
Oh.
now. I am still subcontracting for the guy that I was working with.
Oh, okay.
That when you were working with
Yeah.
me. But so I'm a superintendent underneath him,
Okay.
and a business owner on my own when I do mine.
What are you building?
I still do pole buildings.
That's what I thought. It's not easy work, but you've been doing it for years now.
15.
Yeah. Okay, so a little bit of background about yourself: wife, kids, grandkids. We've already hit on that. What else do we need? You've got a lot more gray hair since when I first met you.
And I'm wearing hats a whole lot more now than I ever did. But the wife likes it, and I'm kind of coming into the silvery.
Yeah, you are.
I'm kind of like it because now it matches the mustache and the little deal.
Oh my goodness. So how did you? So your construction, you're building building pole buildings. How did you get to there? Let's step back. Did you ever go to college?
No, actually. Okay, so back when we moved up here.
Yes.
So I met a guy who turned into my best friend, and then once again, I came up in my 8th grade year.
Okay.
So, and I went to Shaw. Met this guy, turned out being my best friend. Well, at the end of that school year, he stayed in the same place and ended up going down to Lewis and Clark. My family moved again, and now I'm up in Shadle Park.
Oh.
And so, seeing him and kind of doing things, we still did it, but it made things once again a whole lot harder, and it was a whole other transition again. So, basically, I forgot what the question was because I got to that.
8th grade
Yeah,
transition. How did you,
right.
I asked you about
So,
going to college.
Going to college. Oh yeah. So when things didn't really pan out, and actually I really got bored of school. I was taking all the AP classes and the pre-calc classes in high school, and I just got bored of it, and I wouldn't do the homework, so I was getting C's and D's, and I was getting yelled at, and I had a tail, and that wasn't good with Dad because they're very Christian people, and I was very more open-minded. So finally, what it came down to is I just started skipping school and going down to Lewis and Clark and seeing my best friend Chuck,
Right.
and I just finally dropped out.
Okay. So when you dropped out of school, you never went to college. You just started work. What did you start doing for work, or how that?
Well, when I dropped out, I really didn't do anything, and I was kind of homeless for a while. I spent some time down at the kids' homeless place that's downtown. I forget the name of it because it's been so long, but they still have it around. Great place. So this teenage nightclub named Scoochie's opened up in 1986, and it was right after Christmas. I think it was the day after Christmas, and me and some friends went for the first 3 or 4 nights and got to know the owner, and it was a really big, expensive nightclub, and I was a homeless kid, and he says, well, you want to stay here and watch my nightclub? And, I'll take care of your food and whatever, you know,
Wow.
16 years old. I didn't have a paycheck coming from him,
Yeah,
but I mean, I got in free, and he, you know, he took care of me.
right.
And so first night that I stayed in the place, I went downstairs and started playing around with their sound system and figured out how to play the records that they did. And so started off that I was a DJ, and then after DJing didn't work out so well for after a long time of doing that, I married a girl. That didn't work out. A buddy of mine was into construction, got me into vinyl siding, and I did that for 5 years.
Wow.
And came back after doing that and went back to DJing for a while again. And then things, of course, once again, life evolves and more situations happened. And
Choices,
and
we'll make choices, good and bad.
yes, and I had to kind of change routes again. And since I already had the construction background, I've had a friend that did pole buildings, and his name's Brent. And once I came up to him and says, well, I need to do something different again. You got a job? And he gave me a job, and he absolutely didn't know that I did anything other than being a DJ. You know, didn't have any idea I had any construction experience, so he thought he was going to have to reteach me, and
Or just teach you.
yeah, or teach me, period. Yes. And the first day I went on a job with him, he asked everybody, where's Sean at? And I was up on the roof of his building, putting on his roof for him.
Wow.
So
See, I met you when you were DJing at a nightclub here in Spokane.
yes, sir.
How long did you do that?
I'd probably put 7 to 8 years, maybe 9 years into that club
Right.
here in Spokane.
Yeah. Did you go over to Seattle and do that also?
Yep, I did all the clubs in Seattle. Did a couple of clubs down in Vegas. Did a club over in Wisconsin.
Same company?
No,
Just different.
there was only for the majority of the time it was one company. They just had different names.
Right.
of
Okay.
The clubs,
Right.
but same owners.
So you did that 7. So getting into the present. So you've never done college.
No, sir.
How dare you call me sir?
No, Vic. No, Vic. No, sir, Vic.
Well, yeah, you can tell you're being nice because we are on the microphone.
Yeah, yeah.
If you heard what we really called each other. Imagine the worst. Once again, it's because we love each other. It's not because we don't. So getting into the pole buildings, and you said you've been doing that 15 years-ish right now.
Yes, sir.
How did you get to, is that from the Brent situation, and you transition me from wherever you were to getting into pole building 15 years ago, is what my question is.
Okay, so
Were you DJing back then, and you
I
said,
I
need to change?
DJ'd.
Right.
Then I did the construction for the 5 years with my friend doing the vinyl siding
Right,
and metal
right.
roofs.
Then you got
Then I
out
went
of
back to DJing.
Correct. And you did.
Got out of that with Brent, and then so he decided that he got to a point where he was subcontracting for a different company in town,
Okay.
and then he decided that he wasn't making the money he wanted to make, so he broke off on his own.
Okay.
And it was I had worked with him for probably 2.5, 3 years before I got to the point where he knew that I could build a building on my own.
Right.
Off of what he had taught me and stuff.
Right. Since you've been.
So after 3 years, him and I talked, and I finally told him, well, you go and sell, and I'll do all the building for you.
Okay.
And so for the last 12 years, that's pretty much the way it's gone.
Okay.
He sells them, I build them.
And you all different sizes, because I know when I worked with you, we did a couple different ones. I was just because I'd never done that, and you were very gracious and understanding with me. You know, I was a dumbass.
It's a hard work.
Oh, it is.
It's laborious, is all get out.
Especially during the winter, because that's when I came on with you.
Yes,
And it lasted a few months, and it's like.
And you came on the one where the bottom of the garage was like right at our eye level at one part of the building.
Yeah.
And the guy spent a week doing nothing but getting gravel from the gravel pit and coming and filling up the building.
Yeah, it was interesting. I don't regret doing it. It is definitely hard work, but if you know what you're doing, and fortunately, you didn't yell too much. Is your coworker still with you?
Well, Joel, if you're talking about Joel,
I think it's Joel.
Joel is still around. Yes,
Oh.
he's running his own crew now
Okay.
too.
Nice. Joel was the one that got excited with me, which is fine.
Yes.
But that's Joel.
Right. I try to keep things as calm as I can until you really, really
Right.
screw up.
Right. And
Or
you
if you
understood.
continuously screw up,
Right.
then I have no problem with yelling like you do at me.
Like I have at you many times?
Yes, sir.
Sean, what the F are you thinking about, you stupid son of a... So what's the process, nowadays so you took over, because that was like...
So back then we were pretty much just doing regular barns, just a garage, like a 40 by
Correct.
60 garage. But the one you came on
That was a
kind
shop
of turned
house.
into be the first one turned into like a shop
That
house
was, yeah,
that we ever did.
it was out north here.
Yes.
So I remember well. I remember, it was, I have fond memories, fortunately, because we were hanging out. I always enjoyed that, because we could have fun. And yet you were teaching me, you were teaching the old guy something new. But yeah, that was a pretty intense, and then some of the outside, putting some of the metal up on the outside was pretty intense, because we're up 2-3 stories, two or three
25,
stories.
30 feet.
Yeah.
You're at the peak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, some days were frigid.
Yeah.
Where there's times I was freezing and I had to take a break, and Joel would yell at me like, "What do you?" It's like I'm freezing. I might hurt myself if I don't take a break and warm up a little bit.
We're all at that stage now. but also that's pretty much most of the stuff that I'm getting called for now in building. And the little 30 by 40 with a 1-car garage
Right.
with a man door in it, and a couple windows. That's not what we really do anymore, because everybody knows that we can build these half shop, half houses.
Do you think partly it's because of cost?
I think a lot of it has to do with cost.
Because it's less expensive to do a pole building like that. Because I even looked into it, and I think you might have remember this, but I was looking at doing something like that, a smaller pole building to have a house live in, like for a single dwelling, before I became with and was with somebody again, where I was looking at the cost of that as opposed to even a mobile home or something like that, was like the pole building. It's like, that seems just much more logical, financial too.
And it is. Yeah, it absolutely is. Because you look at like houses, when you build a house, they've got to do their studs like every 2 feet. They've got to have a big old foundation first, build all their stud walls on top of the foundation, whereas with the pole buildings, you build your poles 10 to 12 feet apart, and you put up a roof system. So now you're only dealing, like, say on a 60-foot building, if you're doing every 10 feet, you're only dealing with 12 trusses instead of 30 trusses. So the cost is way down there. And then for your roof system, you only need, if you're say 40 foot wide, so half that's 20 foot for half your roof, and you do them 2 foot on center, you only need 10 boards to build your roof.
There's way cost difference.
A lot of cost difference. And all you're doing is putting some concrete in the holes, and yes, granted, you probably come back and put a concrete slab in, but on like in a 30 by 40 building right now, those are going for $15,000, $20,000, or about $20,000 to have a good foundation put in.
The floor and everything.
Yeah,
Wow.
but everything else on the building on a 30 by 40, if you were to kind of turn it into a house for just building it with stud walls, you're probably looking at the total cost of having just your main building built, no electricity,
Yeah.
no plumbing, just your shell, the floor, and if you want, what a metal siding, it's all going to vary, for what you want. If you want a comp roof, shingle
Right.
roof or
Right.
a metal roof, or if you want the hardy siding. But you're probably looking, a 30 by 4 building with labor and everything, $60,000.
Right.
And then you can put whatever you want to on the inside of it, do whatever you want to do
Right.
after that.
And you can change it instead of having it all exactly. You can change it you have the shell of it, and do what you want at that point. There are differences you can do as opposed to the laid out architect of the house.
Yeah, and with the architectures for the big old houses, you're going to pay for them big old plans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with basically, if you do a pole building, you can just figure out, okay, well, I want, 60 by 40. I want 30 of it to be shop. I want 30 to be the house. But I want the house to come out so you can put a lean-to on it. So you can and then you can just do your walls however you want to in between all that stuff.
Right. And that's what I was thinking about when I was looking at it. I'm going, well, I don't have to, but I could change because I didn't know what live and learn as, I was just trying to figure out somewhere that I could stay warm and sleep and have somewhere to eat and not piss too many people off.
Right. And we can still build you one.
Can you?
Well, we can.
Oh,
We.
well, I
you're
know.
You're involved with this because you already taught you so much.
I know.
So
Well,
you're gonna
I
have
would
to.
be. Oh, I'd have to do it. I know that.
I wouldn't let you do anything but be part of it.
How is Kelly? God, I can't
Yes,
remember.
Kelly.
How is Kelly?
My ex.
No, not that Kelly.
Oh.
No, not that's the gentleman. Can't think of his name off right.
Kelsey.
No,
Nope.
no. The other builder that used to live in the valley. He was going to do. He was his God.
Bill.
Bill Nelson.
Bill Nelson. Okay.
How is Bill? I've seen him. We're friends on Facebook, and he seems like he's doing well. How is Bill?
He
have
is,
have you seen him lately? Or?
Actually, I haven't seen him in a while, but I just talked to him a couple of nights ago, and he's doing some drywall and stuff like that, and Steve's doing the construction and stuff. But yep, he's got his own stuff going on now too.
Right.
Still good.
See, I think of Bill. If you see him, I have to tell him I said hi. I do. I do remember. Once again, it wasn't easy work. It was a pain. It was not easy.
The easiest part of work is going home,
Yeah.
and that's still hard because you're going,
At the
because
end-
you start to everything starts to tighten up on you. You're like,
Aches and pains. I remember the barn, the big thing that we were doing up on up Mead, up the hill of Mead, where it was so bad. A couple days we couldn't even get up there because 4-wheel drive.
yeah, my 4-wheel drive went out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So doing what you do now.
That
So
truck's still a piece.
you still have it?
It's stuck up at my job site right now.
Awesome. Awesome.
Running on like 7 cylinders, starter's not going.
It's all yours.
That's right.
So what's a typical day consist of with you these days? You get up, obviously you get ready, and you drive to whatever the job site. What's a typical day consist of? Tasks, hours?
Yeah, it varies. I'm 50 now, so I try not to put in more than 7. You know, just because.
Well, you have a wife and family and try to enjoy them.
Right, you know, so, you know, the winter time it makes it easy because it's colder and the days are shorter, and come summertime it's easy because it gets hotter, so you can't work too late, so you just get up earlier, start, you don't quit earlier.
Huh,
you
always
know.
has it all worked out.
Yeah.
Summer too hot, winter too cold.
Right, and the springtime too rainy. You know,
Fall just
so-
start maybe get a little rainy, a little over.
Right, you know,
Ooh.
you would, you know, get your 7 hours in.
Yeah.
But it just depends, you know. But my main thing, get up there, get the guys up there, and whatever
How many-
we're gonna do for the day.
How many do you have on your crew now?
I am running a 3-man crew, and
Including
Joel's,
yourself?
yeah, me and 2 others,
Okay. Yeah.
and then Joel is him and 1 other,
Mhm.
which is Brent's uncle, and the guy that I
Right.
still work for.
Partner.
And every now and then we team up depending on
Sure.
you know what we have to do and
Right.
stuff
and
like that.
we did
but,
that before. A couple jobs where we had so much that we had to try to get done.
Right.
Job.
But for the most part, it's wake up, you know, get ready and go. Here we go again.
Okay, so when you get on a job site, let's say it's something you've been working. That's the poles are already in. Let's start with this. How is a pole building built? You go in there, you lay out, however big it is. Let's say a 30 by 40 ish.
Okay. So let's start with just an easy building.
Thank you. Yes.
So say you want a 30 by 40, go and measure out your 10-foot bays. Have a guy, or you can do it yourself if you have the equipment to do it. But we have a guy that comes in and he will drill the holes for us.
For the poles.
Yes, and depending on how tall it is or how wide it is, depends on how big the holes have to be. So basically, just they come in, drill the holes. We'll set the poles. Then the guys come in, put the concrete in the holes, and
How long does that take to set?
well, on a 30 by 40, we get them drilled, set, and poured in one day.
Wow. Okay.
And so on a good day, say it's summertime, the next day we're ready to. So we brace them. So we got to brace them up. So like we'll set a pole, we'll put a leg out, put a brace across, leg out, brace across, keep them all where they're supposed to be, stake them down so they don't go anywhere. Next day we'll come in, we'll take out all the braces, we'll get all our trusses hangered, and then we move them into the building. We build our roof system before we put them up in the air. And so about the first day, well, the first day is the second day is getting all the roof system built, getting sidewalls on so we can crank the bays up in the air. Third day, about the third day, the roof's
And
up in the air.
when you say crank,
Oh.
see, I remember this. Let's clarify exactly
Okay.
when you say crank.
When I say crank, so
and
what
you
we do-
literally crank your
Yes.
trusses up.
So yes, in a 10-foot bay, you will have 4 posts.
Mhm.
You know, one at this corner, one at this corner, and then 10 feet away, one at this corner, one at this corner.
Correct.
So basically, you have 4 boxes sit on top of each one of those posts, and basically a boat winch. Boat winch comes down, hooks up around
And you're
the
manually.
trusses,
have
and
you still manually?
still manually cranking them up. They do make them electrical.
But why do that?
But I mean, you don't stay in shape that way.
Uh huh.
Keep the beer belly out. Look, still looking as thin as I did. But yeah, you crank them up, and you know, and then once that's usually the third day.
Okay.
Is cranking them up, because the second day it'll be getting them ready, getting the walls built. Next day you get them up in the air, build the rest of the walls, and build your overhead doors if you have any. Put your windows in or whatever. But a 30 by 40 without any windows, without a lock door, just a box can be done in 5 days with 3 guys that know what they're doing.
Right.
They know what they're doing.
Right.
You can get it done in 5 days. But
Right.
that's-
You're like with your crew, they've been working together. They
But
know.
me, my jobs are like 2 month jobs because like with me doing the shop houses.
Yep.
Some people want commercial girts, so girts are 2x6s turned the 5 inches up outside of posts. Commercial girts, they're laid flat and go in between the posts so people can put insulation in.
Right.
So most of the big houses and I call them shouses. Or
Shop
I
houses.
heard a new word that I really like, barn-dominium.
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 Learned something new today.
Barn-dominium or shouse.
Barn-dominium.
So some people like to have their shop commercial girded, and then almost always the house is studded.
Right.
You do stud walls for that, just for insulation purposes too.
Question is, have you gone back to the house to the shop that we started way out north? You remember, the one I'm referencing that was that.
The first one we talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah. Actually, his name is Vermilion.
a really nice guy, real nice.
He drills. So Vermilion Drilling. Here's a plug
There's a
for my
plug.
buddy Vermilion, because
So-
he's drilling me.
Are they living in that, and they get all their whole?
Yep. And we've done another building for him.
Of course.
We've done an addition or 2 different additions for him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I'd like to go out there and
Actually-
take a look. Just it's always fascinating because to be a part of something and then see where it's at years later, because it's like 4 or 5 years since I.
And actually, my wife and I got a piece of property up in Ione,
Oh.
and I need him
How'd
to
you
come
drill?
and take care of it. No, it's already drilled.
Oh.
I need him to do just the plumbing part and get into the electrical
Okay.
well. It's kind of funny because I hadn't talked to him for a long time, talked to him about this, and then in the last 3 months I've seen him on 3 different jobs drilling right next door to us.
And you still, I need to talk to you.
Yep.
What about let's to do with your job? What do you dislike? What stands out in your mind? What do you dislike the most, and what do you like the most?
The part I hate the most is having to be the asshole that's got to yell at everybody.
I figured you'd like that.
Well, I would if you were still working. I mean, you make it pleasurable. But when I really yell at somebody, it's really because they're being dumb, and I hate making them feel dumb. But
Right. Sometimes they are. They need to be.
yeah, so I kind of hate that. But it's just
Okay.
the painstaking work, the body aches and stuff
Sure.
like that.
And getting older, it's not getting easier.
Yeah, but it is what it is. You take your ibuprofen, and,
Yeah.
have a rum and coke and move on.
What do you like the most about it?
I love being outside. I love being outside, and I love the fact that even though every job's a pole building, every job is different.
Right.
And now that I'm building so many different shop houses, it's like every different pole building is a piece of work and a piece of art to me.
Sure.
And so to be able to see these people's faces, at the end of the day or at the end of the job or whenever I get to see them and see the excitement in their face and how happy they are about,
See their dreams come true.
yeah, and about how about good a job that we've done, because
Yeah.
I pride myself on
I know you.
You know, you mess it up, I don't care if you're a little bit off, you're gonna take it apart, and
Right,
you're
fix it.
gonna go to the way I do it,
Right,
because I don't do comebacks.
right,
I've never had a callback unless it's to do more work.
right, right, right.
And so that's what I love. Just pride myself on the work and being outside and enjoying it.
So nowadays, since you're the boss, do you have to do much office work?
Yes.
So
I'm doing way too much of it because
that's
my family has a place up by Ione, and I've done some stuff up on Ione, and it's a tiny place, and I'm getting calls left and right. So that's why we're moving up there, because eventually I'm going to move my business up there,
Oh, okay.
and we are going to move up there and retire up there.
So doing what you do, what do you think the biggest misconception from the general public about being being a general contractor? What do you think, or somebody doing you deal with people asking questions? What do you think?
I'll tell you what I think the biggest thing is, because I know what the biggest thing is with me is just companies out there hiring the cheapest people, not teaching them, and just hack jobs. Just people not doing things the right way, going through it as fast as they can.
Slam a bam.
Yeah, I mean, my wife works for the City of the Valley, and she's got a book this thick from Meridian of stuff that they've done wrong, that they didn't do right.
Wow.
You know, and they're almost gonna, in a way, have to tear half that building apart. You know, so it's just hack jobs, and I think that's the biggest thing is people. And the other thing is right now and stuff, it's so hard for people to get hold of people because people are so busy that people aren't even getting callbacks from anybody. So I think that's frustrating to people. The cost of materials has skyrocketed since COVID because they shut down factories. So plywood, before COVID came around, was about $8 to $10 a sheet for a 4x8. $32 a sheet now.
Wow.
Yeah, a 2x6 10-foot piece of lumber that might have been $5 is now $10. So
Yeah, the cost has gone up a lot of stuff. I didn't realize. Wow.
it's crazy right now.
Doing this, obviously, I don't need specifics, but like money and income, obviously, you're doing okay.
Yep. Yes. Actually, because I've taken it so far, and because I've decided to. And that's the thing, you've got to invest. It's like anything else you do. You invest your time into it, and and you get to learn it. You can make money from anything you do.
Right.
I mean, I could, and I'll put it this way: not being a high schooler, I don't even have my GED. In the next few years, if I really wanted to go the way I really wanted to go, I could make 6 digits. But yeah, there's money to be made.
Sure.
There's money to be made at it.
If you do it the right way and you take care of your customers.
Right.
Because you don't advertise.
No.
Word of
I'm
mouth.
strictly word of mouth. And I can't get off the phone.
And you suck. Just
I
think
know. My work's horrible, but I get it, and people still want it.
No, your work's good. You
I mean,
suck.
oh, that's right. I'm horrible.
You're horrible. Your
Work's great. I'm
work's
horrible.
great,
Yeah,
you're
people
horrible.
still like me.
I know, right?
People still like me.
That's what they're.
Saturday Night Live. People still like me.
Do they? Do they still like you? So I'm going through my list, but this is just way too. That's
way too fun. Skip the cards and let's just go ahead.
Nice flippers. So let's back. How many jobs or careers have you had since? Because you had worked as a DJ or worked at the nightclub when you dropped out of school, did that, then
The
you.
rest weren't really jobs. They were just get by things to get by.
So you.
I was a florist. I picked up.
Did you?
I picked up golf balls at the golf range when I was a kid. I worked in a florist shop when I was 14.
Wow. You've done
Arby's.
You've done a lot of miscellaneous stuff.
Yeah. You
Like,
know.
a lot of us are trying to find out what we're going to do when we grow up. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow
When I
up.
was playing with flowers at 14.
Okay. Did that help with the girls though?
No.
Well, I
Nope.
want to say something right now, but
I was gonna say it was never really an issue, but.
What advice would you give?
See, and at some point in time, we knew it was going to come down. We
I
have
know,
a problem.
we're
with
gonna
it.
start
Okay,
going
all
at
right,
each
all right.
other.
Next question, clean.
What advice would you give anybody that wanted to get in construction or that might be interested in doing what you do?
First, I would say, don't be afraid of heights.
Yeah,
Don't
no.
be afraid of heights for sure.
See, I wasn't afraid of heights. I wasn't.
Okay, don't be afraid of the ground when you're up high.
Yeah, because you'll hit.
Yeah, right. So
The only
that's
time I
best.
was afraid of that, we did a job at a lumber place. Do you remember that? We did a
Discount lumber?
remodel. Yeah, off
the lumber company that
yeah, that we got our
lumber from.
stuff from.
Yeah.
And I was I was like almost hanging. That was the only time because it was concrete that I would have landed on. I never did fall or anything, but that was the only time I was fearful. All the other stuff was like, yeah, it was like, it was cold. And so that was, and the ladders weren't, that didn't freak me out, but when it was concrete down, if I was going to land, bam!
From 29 feet, yeah.
Yeah, 29.
So I would say, for one, don't be afraid of heights. Be ready to work hard.
Yeah.
Because it is very hard work. There will be pain involved. You will hurt yourself. You will cut yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't shoot yourself with a nail, somebody will probably hit you with one, not on purpose,
Yeah.
but
I skipped that one.
you will get hurt. So you just got to be expecting it and just understand that it's construction. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of danger because there's danger,
Right.
But I like flying around like a monkey and
You like to have fun, though, when you're doing it.
right.
You do.
It is because I'm not afraid of it. That's the other thing. You can't be afraid of it.
Right.
You can't be afraid of what you do, because if you do, it just totally locks you up.
Right. Any questions? We're almost already done. That was quick and semi-painted.
No?
Mr. King, you have any questions for our guest?
No?
So here's a trick question. When you were a kid, did you ever what was your dream to be? Did you ever want to become an astronaut or a policeman? Or
The first thing I ever wanted to become was a veterinarian.
really?
Yep.
How? Why? How?
Just because I loved animals. I still do.
Right.
But
wow.
if it wasn't for allergies, I'd probably have some cats around. But no, I was
How many
I
dogs
was
you still
big.
have?
Well, I was born in Wyoming, so I was a big nature lover. I mean, you had to be there. That's all you had was nature. So,
Wow.
and when I was probably 5 years old or something like that, I think my cat had gotten a hold of a bird or something. But this bird had a broken wing, and I put it in a little Easter basket thing and kind of nuzzled it up, and it healed itself and flew off.
Wow.
So
I didn't
yeah,
know.
that was kind of
I didn't know that
first
about
thing
you.
I wanted to do.
Wow.
That.
I know.
But I don't have the patience to have that much schooling,
Yeah.
obviously,
Well,
to
things
do that.
things do change. I mean, we've had people that wanted to be a fireman or wanted something. That's just one of those questions we like to ask, because just because you dreamt of one thing, life takes you a different direction. Sometimes you don't realize.
I'm pretty sure that 95% of the people out here don't ever turn out to be what they want it to be.
My dream when I was 10 years old, I told this on one of our latest podcasts, is when I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a drummer in a rock and roll band.
And guess what?
Hmm.
You were.
That's the thing, is I've accomplished most of my dreams.
Yep.
So I've been very fortunate. Any advice you give to anybody to do with life in general? Because you've had a varied life, Sean. I know that because we've known each other 30, God, we've known each other probably about 30, Jesus.
20,
No,
yeah,
it's been-
29. Yes, well, let's call it 30.
30-ish.
Let's just call it 30. Because we're topping the 29, 28,
Yeah,
29-ish, so let's
Oh,
just
yeah.
call it 30.
So what advice would you give to anybody in life in general? Because you've had it good, you've had it bad, you've had
Yeah.
it rough.
And
And you're
I have to say that, no matter what your parents or anybody ever tries to tell you or ever tries to make you be or whatever, you've got to feel in your heart that what you're doing is right and good. And if it's not, don't do it. If it is, do it. Because I spent a lot of years not doing the right thing, and I had a great time doing it. But it turned out being nothing good.
Right.
Nothing good. So that would be my big thing. Do everything you can good.
Is that what you tell
to
your kids
and
now,
everybody?
too?
Absolutely.
Follow their heart?
Well, and they see it. That's why my kids that I didn't have, that I had,
Right.
that I didn't have in my life,
Right.
I now finally have in my life.
Right.
Because it is a whole change of life.
Yeah.
You've got to do good. Period. So it doesn't matter what people teach you, Bible-wise, whatever-wise, karma-wise, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Be good, do good.
Karma does come around.
Yep.
It
Be
does
good,
come
do
around.
good no matter what you do.
I mean, here we are 30 years later.
Yeah. And do it at 100%. Because
Enjoy it.
you're going to fail at 100%.
Well,
If
then you can
you're
learn.
going to do anything, just do
Well, you
it
gotta
all.
learn from it. But
Right.
everybody that's the thing. Everybody makes mistakes. We all make our mistakes trying to figure out what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it. And hopefully learn from those mistakes. Sometimes it takes us a couple times to learn from the same mistake, but you and I both
For
made
me,
a
it
couple.
took more. It's not like 500 on some of them, you know.
And
But
here-
yes,
and
learn
here-
from your mistakes, absolutely.
And here we are. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
I actually learned more about you today than certain things. I didn't know the veterinarian thing. I didn't know a couple other things. Awesome.
I didn't need to tell you. I didn't have to.
Yeah,
tell
you never asked before. I didn't care before.
We cussed at each other. What else do we need to say?
Hey, you son of a! Oh, shut up.
Hiya, bitch. Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's go for some lunch.
It's time. Is it break time? Yeah, it's time to break. Time to warm up. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Career Paths by Infinite. Our guest, Sean Etten.
Thank you, and thank you. I hope.
Hopefully, we help somebody else.
Hope I help somebody else out there. Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
Right.
Is hopefully give a bit of information and nugget
And if you
information.
need work, I need workers.
There you go. Contact us through Career Paths. We'll hook you up with Sean. Make sure you please like, subscribe, leave us a comment that Sean was great. I sucked. I'm good with it. It's your life. Make it happen. Till next time. Take care.
Thank you.
Awesome, Sean. Okay, you're not going too far.
Except for the bathroom.
Yep.